White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt is responding to growing pressure from Americans and allies to clarify what the United States' goals are for this war with Iran.
President Trump made the determination, a courageous determination and decision, that the path the United States was on with Iran had only one outcome: massive death and destruction at the hands of a nuclear-armed terroristic regime.
From destroying Iran's nuclear program to regime change, the Trump administration's reasoning for launching the war remains unclear. For more on what the U.S. endgame could be, we're joined by Akash Maharaj, Senior Fellow at the University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Good morning.
Good morning, Anne.
We're going to take a look at a few of the reasonings that have been given and look at what the endgame could look like. When Trump launched the U.S. strikes on the weekend, he told Iranians to, quote, take over their government. If regime change is the objective, what type of U.S. military involvement in Iran would be required?
It's not clear that regime change is, in fact, the objective. Trump himself has said that while he had individuals in mind to take over the Iranian government, those individuals have all been killed in the bombing campaign. And indeed, Pete Hegseth has gone on to say that there will be no efforts by the United States to foster state building or democracy building in Iran. To the extent that one can discern any kind of a strategic objective in bombing Iran, it seems to be to cripple the existing regime rather than thinking through the question of what will happen after that regime is crippled. It's possible that by bombing the regime and by breaking it down, Trump will render Iran too weak to harm American interests. The alternative is that he may simply sow total chaos in the Middle East, which is dangerous for everyone, including the United States.
Trump is also vowing to destroy Iran's missile program and the Navy. Iranian missiles do not have the capacity to strike United States soil. So then what options does Iran have to strike back against the U.S.?
Right now, or at least at the start of this campaign, most observers believe that Iran had about 2,000 long-range missiles and an unknown number of Shahed drones, which are drones that have about a 2,000-kilometer radius. It used them somewhat indiscriminately and extravagantly in the first couple of days of the campaign. It is now using them with almost painful economy, which suggests that they are running out of these munitions. Iran cannot defeat the United States, but it can potentially wear down its political will. It costs about, well, I should say for every dollar that Iran is spending on drones, the United States is spending about $25 to shoot them down. Nevertheless, the United States has, to all practical purposes, an infinite capacity to manufacture and deploy arms. Iran can really make this painful for the United States and painful for American allies, but it cannot hope to vanquish the U.S. It can't take away the American ability to wage war against them, but they can diminish American willingness to carry on with the war in the weeks and months ahead.
Well, I just want to pick up on that point, Akash, because part of war is being able to sell a war to your own people. And this is a country that's been through Iraq, they've been through Afghanistan. They've not only spent billions of dollars, but they've also lost a lot of American lives. And so day 6 of this war, there's no nukes found, there's no regime change, but they've already spent millions and they've lost 6 soldiers. So is that the pain point you're talking about?
I think that Donald Trump has miscalculated in this campaign. Before he entered politics formally, when Barack Obama was still president, Trump himself said that the only reason the president would bomb or attack Iran would be to distract the American people from his poor performance as president and an attempt to bolster his polling numbers. Now, of course, Trump is himself president of the United States, and he is bombing Iran on the eve of midterm elections in the U.S., where the polls suggest that he is not going to prosper. In addition, Trump's core supporters, a very large percentage of his core supporters, were drawn to his constant refrain that he would not enmesh the United States in foreign wars, that he would withdraw the U.S. from international institutions, and that he would turn his back on foreign conflicts. Clearly, that is a promise he has now shattered. And I suspect that his supporters will not thank him for it at the ballot box. The U.S. military is not like Canada's military. It is in many ways the employer of last resort. And as a result, if he does deploy troops on the ground in Iran, those will not be the sons and daughters of congressmen and senators. Those will be the sons and daughters of middle income and poor Americans, the people whose support he has relied on to date, and people who will not thank him for putting their children in harm's way.
What groups or countries could Iran call out to for help and support in this ongoing conflict?
Iran has succeeded in isolating itself from countries in the entire region. It has virtually no friends, with the possible exception of Russia, another pariah state. Iran's allies have not been formal states, but instead terrorist organizations that it has fomented in the region and across the world. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Hamas in Gaza, a whole series of militias in Iraq and Syria. I would expect them to be calling upon those irregular forces to engage in terrorist activities in the surrounding Gulf states and the Arab states that have allied themselves with the United States. They have a limited capacity to strike the United States itself, but Iran's weapon of retaliation will not be a concerted strategy. It will be chaos and anarchy. But the truth is, chaos and anarchy can be effective tools in a war of attrition.
Explain that quickly, Akash. What do you mean?
The United States relies upon its allies in the region to provide bases and staging points to attack Iran. Most of those countries are themselves dictatorships and tyrannies, but that is not to say that they are completely impervious to public opinion. The bombs and drones that Iran is unleashing are not falling on the United States. They are falling upon those Arab states that surround Iran and states further afield. There's a limit to how long the population in those countries will be willing to support an American war that is costing the blood and treasure, not of Americans, but of themselves.
Akash Maharaj, Senior Fellow at the University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.